Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're looking at a really fresh way to understand and breathe new life into our historic cities. We're going to dive into a fascinating case study from Alwar, India. Now, think of this like a doctor's checkup, but for a city's oldest neighborhoods, a tool that can diagnose their hidden strengths and their most urgent problems.
You know, this quote from the research really hits the nail on the head. It reminds us that our oldest urban centers are these complex, living things. And a one-size-fits-all approach to city planning, especially models that are just imported from somewhere else, well, they often fail the very places we love the most because they totally ignored their unique personality.
So, let's get right into it. What is the core problem that so many of the world's historic urban centers are facing?
Okay, so when we look at a map like this, a lot of modern planners might use words like congested, haphazard, or, outdated. But what we're actually seeing here is a kind of hidden genius. This is an urban fabric that grew organically over centuries to be walkable, socially connected, and super energy efficient. It's a type of sustainable design we've almost forgotten how to create.
Here's the real challenge. Modern city planning is so often built for cars, not for people. It separates where we live from where we work and shop, and that leads to all this sprawl. Traditional cities, though, they did the opposite. They mixed everything together. They're compact, they're built for walking, and that helps create really strong community bonds. Trying to apply a car-first model to a people-first city? Yeah, it's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It just doesn't work.
So, if the old tools aren't working, how do we figure out how healthy a historic neighborhood really is? How do we find a better way forward? And maybe most importantly, how do we measure the things that actually make a community a great place to live?
Well, to solve this, the researchers in our source material came up with a pretty brilliant solution. They call it the Neighborhood Vitality Tool. Honestly, you can just think of it as that comprehensive health checkup for a city's oldest parts. It's designed to be fast, to quickly take the pulse of a community, and it does that by combining hard data with something invaluable, the perceptions of the people who actually live there.
And what's so cool about this tool is just how broad it is. I mean, it goes way beyond just looking at the economy or traffic flow. As you can see, it measures 7 vital signs, everything from the social and economic health to the physical condition of the buildings, crime, the environment, heritage, and even demographics. It's all about creating this complete 360-degree picture of a neighborhood's well-being.
All right, so let's see how this tool was actually put to the test in the real world. We're going inside the historic walled city of Alwar in Rajasthan, India. So the very first step was to take this complex, interwoven city and break it down into smaller, more manageable pieces. The research team identified 30 distinct neighborhood planning units, or NPUs. And this micro-level approach is absolutely key, right? Because what's happening on one block might be totally different from what's happening on the next. This lets you get a much more precise diagnosis.
So for every single one of those 30 units, they collected data on those 7 vital signs. And this is where the magic really happens. The tool combines objective data, things like income levels, with the subjective perceptions they got from surveys. It asks questions that get right to the heart of daily life. Like, do you feel safe? Are the streets actually clean? Do you get along with your neighbors? It captures the real lived experience.
And here's where the story gets really interesting. All of that rich, complex data gets translated into these simple, color-coded maps that instantly show you the city's hidden strengths and weaknesses. It basically makes the invisible visible.
Okay, look at this. This is just a brilliant illustration of that complexity we were talking about. See the map on the left? The areas in red are the commercial core, and they score terribly on traffic and pollution. I mean, they're just choked with vehicles. But now, look at the map on the right. A lot of those exact same areas are green. That means residents report a really high sense of safety. So why? It's because of that mixed-use design, with shops downstairs and homes upstairs. It means there are always eyes on the street. It's a perfect example of a traditional strength that a single-minded focus on traffic would completely miss.
But of course, the tool also uncovers the really critical problems that need urgent attention. This map here shows the scores for physical infrastructure. We're talking water supply, sewage, waste disposal. The red and orange areas tell a clear story. This is the lowest scoring dimension across the entire city. It's a systemic failure that's making daily life harder for thousands of people.
So the raw output from the tool looks something like this giant detailed matrix of scores. It's an incredibly rich data set, basically a complete health report for the city. But Let's be honest, if you're a busy city planner, this is pretty overwhelming. The real power here is in how you distill this information.
And that's the crucial point. You can boil all that complexity down into a clear, simple doctor's report. The diagnosis for Alwar is obvious. Critical condition, the infrastructure is failing. It's a chronic issue. Traffic in the core is a nightmare. There's a concerning trend of vacant buildings. But there's also a powerful hidden strength, that amazing sense of safety and community. All of a sudden, city leaders have a clear set of priorities they can actually do something about.
So you have this powerful diagnosis. How does that translate into a real-world treatment plan for the city? Because this is the most important part, right? Turning all that amazing insight into actual action.
So how does this work in practice? Well, for each one of those 30 neighborhoods, the tool generates a simple one-page dashboard that looks just like this. It's called an NPU chart, and it gives planners this clear, actionable summary. It shows key stats, the vitality scores, and most importantly, it proposes targeted solutions for that one specific neighborhood.
And this allows for these tailored, micro-level interventions. So instead of some big, blunt, citywide policy that might not work everywhere, you get a precise strategy for healing the city block by block. For one neighborhood, maybe the priority is fixing the sewers. For another, it might be a program to restore vacant houses or create a pedestrian-only market street. It's basically urban planning as precision medicine.
You see, the Alwar study is so much more than just an academic paper. It's a blueprint. It proves that by combining hard data with the voices of the community, we can truly understand, preserve, and revitalize the soul of our most historic places. And it leaves us all with a final question to think about. In our own towns and cities, are we truly listening to what their historic hearts are trying to tell us?